Have you noticed that today, in this current pop landscape, a lot of pop stars aren't having kids? It's like a lot of pop stars are on F them kids timing. Now, let's get this straight. Pop stars, or anyone in entertainment rather, have always been a subgroup in society that tend to not have kids or ones to hold off on having kids because of their careers. Some of these stars have been groomed and trained to be performers since they were really young. It's all they've dreamed about, and being famous in most cases have a volatile shelf life, and a baby might damper the experience. But that notion is currently changing, and we'll get into that in a bit. So some opt to holding off on that arrangement of having little ones for later in life. Also, to be real, some don't want to have kids because maybe it's not on their list of things to do in life, or because the process might change their bodies, which might be their money maker, while those with the funds might just opt for a good old surrogacy. Because why them when someone else can have their children for them? Take some of the Kardashian sisters. Oh yes. Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson conceived their son via surrogate in November 2021. Kim Kardashian, back when she was married to Kanye, they used a surrogate to carry their third and fourth children, Chicago and Palm West. And yes, they all had their first child when some would consider late. Khloe was 29, Kim was 32, while Kanye was 36, and Kourtney Kardashian was 30 years old when she had her first child. But as I said, for some reason, a lot of current pop stars aren't having kids. So for this video, let's explore the expanding pop landscape of childless or child-free pop stars. Why is this happening? And what does this mean for the future of the pop landscape? I am Don, your pop culture boy. Let's get into it. Catastrophic. Right now, there's a slew of pop stars who doesn't have any kids that are over the age of 30. These are big staples in the music industry who have sold millions of records and garnered a lot of prestige in music. In the minds of many, you should start popping out them kids once you're successful. But that's not happening for many pop stars. Harry Styles, Charli XCX, Taylor Swift, R&B singer Miguel, Miley Cyrus, Ariana Grande, SZA, The Weeknd, and Lady Gaga all have no children and are all past the age of 30. Now, I want to first start with Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's persona has shifted from the on-the-edge rock star to now a more humanized image. And maybe because of her past carefree image, you might think she was less inclined to having children. And I'm saying this because I've heard many express they think she doesn't want kids, seeing she's approaching her 40s. And I think this has to do with the fact that in her early career, the world of Gaga was very career-driven and fast-paced. That didn't explore the possibility of having children in the media back then. Also, it's kind of hard to associate kids with the fast-paced lifestyle of Mother Monster. But then again, she did assimilate giving birth to an automatic weapon that represents evil in her Born This Way music video. Contrary to whatever thoughts you had about Lady, on many occasions, especially in the 10s to present day, Gaga has expressed her desire to start a family. I want to have tons of kids, actually. I really want to have a family, and I really want to nurture my children. To be honest, having my own kids will be like having 3 little monsters with me all the time. They probably won't be fans, Gaga told Sirius XM Radio in 2013. And in 2019, she told Allure, I really hope that when I have maybe a little girl one day or a little boy, and they see mommy put her makeup on, that they have the same experience that I did. That's the greatest gift of all, when you can connect with your parents. Now, for The Weeknd, one of the biggest names in popular music, while the 35-year-old does want kids, there was a time in his life when he was not so keen on the idea. I eventually want a family. I know I say I don't, but I know I do. I want children, he told GQ in 2021. When asked why he has claimed he doesn't want kids in the past, The Weeknd said, I guess I say it because I like the trajectory of my career. But also I feel like having children would influence me and inspire me more. Based on further research, emphasis on research as I am a journalist with a bachelor's degree in yapology, it appears it's the anxiety of fatherhood and the fact that The Weeknd was in a much darker, drug-fueled state in his younger days, along with his hectic career that made him not want kids. But now that he is more responsible and sober, he's now more open to fatherhood. For hyperpop party girl Charli XCX, motherhood feels more like an existential chip on her shoulder as she's considering, does she want to have kids or is it society's agenda? Which tells us that if a woman doesn't have children by a certain age, then she's less of a woman. Am I less of a woman if I don't have a kid? Will I feel like I've missed out on my purpose in life? I know we're not supposed to talk about that, but it's this biological and social programming. There's a lot of pressure on women to not talk about that stuff super openly, especially in pop music or in music generally. We're supposed to be sexy and free and fun and wild, said the artist to Rolling Stone UK last year. In the interview, she also discussed how visiting her friend and songwriter collaborator Noni Bo, who had recently become a parent, prompted her to think deeply about motherhood. She noted the profound shift in her friend's perspective, saying, "It was crazy seeing her standing in the same clothes she's always worn, but now she has this completely different perspective on life than I do. She's not alive for the same reasons that I am now." You can also hear this same sentiment on Charli XCX's song I Think About It All the Time off her 7th studio album, Brah, where Charli tackles the idea of motherhood and questions if it's for her or not. I think about it all the time, that I might run out of time, but I finally met my baby, and the baby might be mine, cause maybe one day I might, if I don't run out of time, would it give my life a new purpose? Sings Charli in the chorus. But yeah, my rendition sounds better than the original. I know. Thank you. Now, the next person I want to mention is not a pop star, but I'm going to include him anyway because it's my video and I can do what I want. And that person is Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh yes, there is no public record or substantial proof that he is a father, which is surprising as I had no idea. I've always assumed he had kids, seeing how his preference of dating women under the age of 25, who he would then break up with before they turn 25, tend to dominate the press. Currently, he is dating Italian model Vittoria, I cannot pronounce her last name, who is, wait for it, 27, which breaks his record or pattern of dating women under the age of 25. The 50-year-old actor said he doesn't particularly have an interest in having kids, but if it happens, it happens. Although I am focusing on the influx of today's pop stars no longer having kids or taking longer to have kids, this situation echoes in society on a whole with the everyday person who may face certain stigmas if they choose to or can't, or for whatever reason, attributing to a decline in the birth rate. We all know the stigmas and social pressures attached to persons without kids, such as name calling or saying things such as, something is wrong with her or something is wrong with him. In the Western society, it is not as detrimental for the most part as it's nobody's business, but when compared to other cultures and regions in the East, some of these cultures take it as far as ostracizing or other forms of harassment. The actor Seth Rogen, who's now 43, got extensive backlash on multiple occasions because he stated he and his wife, Lauren Miller, don't want kids. In response to the backlash he's been getting since 2021, early this year he told Esquire, people really had strong takes on it, being like, F this effing guy. Who the fuck does he think he is not to have kids? He gave the simple reason why he and Miller aren't parents. You should only have kids if you really want kids. And we just don't really want kids. Time kept going by and the moment where we were like, let's do it, just kept not happening. I look at my friends with kids and honestly, I feel like some of them are incredibly happy and fulfilled. And some of them seem like maybe they wish they had put a little more thought into it. I just didn't want to be one of those people. The most disturbing comment I saw a lot was, who's going to take care of you when you're old? Which to me is very telling. Is that why you're having kids? Because I have two things. One, that's very selfish to create a human so someone can take care of you. And two, just because you have a kid, I hate to break it to you, that doesn't mean they're going to do that. Now, I want to tell y'all a little story. The other day, I was having a conversation with my Faja, and out of the blue, he goes, you're 80 years old. When are you going to start having kids? What are you going to do? Start having kids at the age of 100? Ha ha. Never once did he ask me if I have the financials to provide for a child, or even if I want children, as you'd think those are the questions one should contemplate before even considering the thought of, bringing another human being into this shithole. But that did not occur to him. So, I did what any reasonable 80-year-old man would do. I ran from my societal duties. My thoughts on the push for people to enter into parenthood because you'll be fulfilled or you won't have true purpose until you have a little angel. I think it's all conditioning to only push society forward because it will crumble if people stopped having kids. Can having children provide a sense of meaning? Sure, but not everyone want that for their life. Some people find fulfillment other ways, and if you are having kids only to be fulfilled, that's kind of unhealthy in my opinion, because your state of happiness depends on someone else that you have to provide for and take care of. Plus, them little fuckers might not even like you. But what do I know? I'm just an 80-year-old grandpa that needs to change his stinky diapers. Society has always placed an emphasis on child-free people. While men definitely experience a unique treatment in regards to the pressures from society, I think women experience harsher ramifications because of the biological clock statement, which is a real thing. Past the age of 35, it becomes more dangerous and more difficult during pregnancy for some women. So society put women on a clock. Meanwhile, men, we can knock someone up at age 80 and be seen as impressive, like an impressive specimen. For example, Al Pacino welcomed his fourth child in his 80s with his, at the time, 29-year-old boo thing back in 2023, and people were impressed. Even though men also have a biological clock, as our sperm, I don't know who the fuck created that word, does get weaker as we age. But whenever a story of women giving birth, I don't know, let's say at age 50, people be like, let's talk about Beyonce. I remember back in the late 2000s when Beyonce was approaching her 30s, and lots of people were really curious concerning when her and Jay-Z would have their first child. And this was still a time when entering your 30s as a pop star, you were seen as less desirable, which has somewhat now changed as people are now more accepting in regards to aging in entertainment. Anyway, the media was really prying in when Beyonce would have a baby. Even Carrie Hilson called out Beyonce on her Turning Me On remix, in the line where Carrie said, "She need to go have some babies. She needs to sit down." In a 2011 interview with Piers Morgan, there was a point in the interview where they were speaking about her approaching 30, and Beyonce, feeling the pressure of the conversation, saw where it was headed, ripped the band-aid off and said, "Are you trying to say that I need to have a baby?"
Turning into my mom.
No, I didn't mean that.
You're trying to say I need to have a baby.
I didn't even ask the question.
Okay. I always said I would have a baby at 30.
I know you did.
I'm 29.
Exactly.
But I also said I was going to retire at 30. So I don't know.
So it could be a big year.
Who knows? I'm not retiring.
Can we expect the little patter of little Beyonce and Jay-Z's?
You know, only God knows.
While I don't think Piers meant to put pressure on Beyonce or that he meant any harm, it's this added pressure from society that can lead to problems down the line, as because of these societal pressures, people who had no business having children are having them anyway, or having kids to please others, which can lead to some ending up being horrible parents. It's this external pressure that made Madonna not have kids until she was 38. Madonna herself noted back in 2023 in a now deleted post on Instagram that she initially rejected the idea of being a mother well into my 30s because I associated motherhood with sacrifice, suffering, and ultimately death. I don't know about you, but in my mind, this tells me that Madonna, who now has 6 children, initially rejected motherhood due to societal pressures. Essentially, societal pressures or forcing others to have children, it can lead, those people to seek out alternative lifestyle or alternative ways to be fulfilled in life. Similar to audiences becoming more accepting to some level regarding to pop stars aging, it's getting more accepted for people, including pop stars who do not have children, getting less backlash from broader society. Cultural norms around family and career have evolved, with more people prioritizing personal choices, professional ambitions, and diverse life paths over traditional expectation like parenthood. Data from the US Census Bureau shows that the percentage of women aged 25 to 44 without children has risen steadily from 27% in 1990 to about 40% in 2020, signaling a wider acceptance of child-free lifestyles across demographics, including high-profile figures like pop stars. In pop culture, stars like Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, and Dua Lipa, who are either child-free or have not publicly prioritized motherhood, face less scrutiny than previous generations. For instance, in the 1990s and 2000s, female celebrities like Jennifer Aniston were often hounded by tabloids about their childless status, whereas today, media and fans are more likely to celebrate personal autonomy. A 2023 Pew Research Center survey found 64% of Americans view choosing not to have children as a valid lifestyle, up from 59% in 2018. And sure, there is still pushbacks from some online, but personally it all feels like bait rage. And yes, the malice persists towards female pop stars the most, while we rarely see the same level of nasty vitriol towards male artists such as The Weeknd and Harry Styles. I'm also seeing where it's more accepted to have children later. For example, Beyonce really made it to some degree socially acceptable to still be in demand or to still be alive and popping after giving birth. And sure, Madonna as well, but I think Beyonce did it on a different level, seeing she had children during the Instagram era where her baby shower, baby bump photos became a highlight and a trend, almost like the next phase of people's once prominent baby face reveal days. Oh, and Beyonce was 30 while Jay-Z was 42 when they had their first child. Rihanna, No More Albums, Makeup Making Me More Money, Fenty, and A$AP Rocky had their first child together in their 30s. She was 34 and he was 33. Nicki Minaj was 37, and Steve Martin, the guy who played Pink Panther, became a first-time father at the age of 67.
Daddy, chill.
So, why pop stars aren't having kids today or opting to have kids much later in life? I think it has to do with the rise of individualism and the rise of figuring out the real meaning of life. Since birth, a lot of us are fed that in order to be happy, you have to go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, and everything will fall into place. And while that module has panned out for a lot of people, for others, it hasn't. More people are not being fulfilled, resulting in cheating on their spouses or neglecting the child that should have brought deep meaning to their lives. And I know people will comment, well, I did what my parents did and I'm happy. And to that I say, well, good for you, Glenn Coco. Kudos to you, bitch. But I'm not talking to you. Lots of people have followed the manual set by society and at the end of the road end up feeling scammed. And I'm not about to read that goddamn manual. Not yet, at least. I also feel like economically, it has only gotten harder to take care of a child, especially if that child want to go to college. Additionally, housing has only gone up, while food prices has risen as well. And pop stars tend to live a certain lifestyle, which I'm sure with the inclusion of a child, I'm sure they'll want that child to live in luxury as well. But here's the thing. Pop stars of today are not making it like pop stars of the past. With all of that taken into consideration, if we aren't sold some new idea of how to approach the traditions of the past, I think we'll continue to see the childless pop landscape expand even further. And maybe we'll end up having less nipple babies in Hollywood. Maybe some will see that as a bright side. I don't know. What do you think? It's time to shout out to the persons who participated. In the community section, I asked to guess the title of this video, and I want to give a shout out to _Itari. They said childless celebrities and pet parents. Shout out to Faduma. They said celebrity that stay child free and would rather have pets overall. And also shout out to Gabs2230 E6J. They said Isaray's F them kids come to mind. Thank you so much for leaving those comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much, my grandbabies. I am Don, your pop culture boy, and I will see you in the next one.